phone.
Trump was essentially paying himself. The campaign was paying the Trump organization. Back in the days when he was self-funding, that meant the rent was about $35,000 a month. Well, now, coincidentally or not, that rent has skyrocketed. The big difference, of course, is now donors are footing the bill for that campaign space in the luxurious Trump Tower. Almost $150,000 a month, nearly quintupled the rent. Now, there has been a renovation of the space, but there's the same number of employees there, the same number of staff, which basically raises the question, are a bunch of, $27 donations going to just fund a renovation of Trump Tower and going right into Trump's pocket?
Any Republicans calling him out and are questioning his spending habits on this?
Not so far, not publicly, although we are just seeing now Ann Coulter publicly criticizing Trump not for the rent, but for his softening on immigration we've seen over the last couple of days. So if there were these questions of whether Donald Trump was going to get any flack for this sort of tack to the center, it already seems to be coming from Ann Coulter, saying that this is a big mistake that she thinks is sort of being pushed by consultants rather than Trump himself.
I don't understand anything about his immigration policy over the last 72 hours. It seems like he staked out every single position possible.
Well, yeah, the one thing he has stayed consistent on is he says he still wants to build a wall. Now, the inconsistency comes, of course, when you talk to Mexican officials and whether that would ever happen, whether they would ever pay for it. The answer is unequivocally no. Trump says he can leverage some pressure. But as for actually deporting 11 million undocumented workers, he said everything from they have to go, we want to keep families together, we want to do this humanely. He's used the word deportation forces in the past. Now his own campaign saying that that's all sort of up in the air. And of course, that speech on immigration he was slated to give on Thursday is now being pushed until at least next week.
He also said on Bill O'Reilly on Fox that he wants to continue the policies of President Obama.
Yeah, that's right. Pointing out correctly, actually, that President Obama has deported more undocumented immigrants than anyone. But he now saying he wants to sort of work within the existing framework that we have, meaning legally. But also the question sort of becomes: is he just going to become is his policy just going to be an extension of President Obama's?
Yeah. All right. Let's talk emails and Hillary, because she won't let us talk about anything else. More fallout now with the pay-for-play alleged scandal there.
Well, that's right. And so this has to do with the Clinton Foundation, specifically during Hillary Clinton's tenure as Secretary of State. And the AP did this big story where they asked the State Department for all of her schedules. They only got the schedules for about half of her tenure. But of those schedules, they found out that of all the people that met with Hillary Clinton that didn't work for a government, either the United States or a different government, the people that not necessarily part of Hillary Clinton's job to meet, these non-government workers, more than half of them had given money to the Clinton Foundation or worked for companies or groups that had given money to the Clinton Foundation. So continuing to draw this line straight from the Clinton Foundation across town to the State Department.
But there's no smoking email, if you will, right? There's no I will give you money if I'm only allowed to meet with Hillary email.
Yeah, and nothing illegal in all of this, actually. It's perfectly legitimate for the Secretary of State, according to the State Department, to meet with private citizens, regardless of what foundations they've given money to. And some of these people were philanthropists like Melinda Gates. There was the Economist that did a lot of work with micro-lending. I mean, these were not just, sleazy back-of-the-book people that you could never imagine a Secretary of State meeting with. But the controversy continues to lie in if it's more than half of these people, was sort of the only way to really get your foot in the door with the Clinton family was to contribute to the foundation. That is the question that's being raised.
Yeah, there's a local donor here, a local power player here, Joy Sabusi, who is now being sort of talked about nationally, where she gave $200,000 to the Clinton Foundation and then wanted to meet with them on a Peabody Energy conversation. I told her publicly she can give me $200,000 and then she can come on the show and we can talk.
She can meet you anytime you want.
That's right? Exactly right, yeah. Brad Melke, ABC News correspondent in New York. Clothed or not, we still don't know. Brad, have a good week. Thanks.
Thanks, guys.
All right. 624, Big 550, KT.